how do you trust and fully let love in when you have been so hurt? You have been in a relationship, or you've been raised in a family where it's like over and over again, you are just stabbed in the heart and like this twisted, and this, you just have this huge wound, right? And it hurts. And you're with this amazing partner now, and you can't even let that in or enjoy that because all of this hurt is still with you, is still in your body, and it sucks. I know it because I've been there, and I almost lost my marriage because of it. I want to start off by saying, before we get into like really how do we trust, how do we let love in when we've been so hurt, is that whatever has happened to you, although totally like, I would never ever want to discount the trauma that you've been through and the feelings that you're having, any of that. But I do want to let you know that as someone who's experienced trauma, I get this all the time. I talk to women all the time who, when I share with them these success stories that our clients have been through, and I share with them specifics on their transformation, there are some women who are like, wow, that's amazing, but I can't feel that like that could happen to me. And they feel like this special form of damaged goods, like they're especially broken and nothing that they do can help them be fixed, right? Like, think about how disempowering that is, first of all. And at the same time, it's a very normal thing to, like, when we've experienced trauma, that we have this sort of complex for like, oh, well, I'm pretty broken, and like that person, we compare to others, like that person has an amazing relationship now and they're happy, but like I'm specifically for me, that's just not possible. I believe that for so many years. My clients, before we do the work, believe that before they actually experience the changes that created the love and the connection with their partner that they were actually dreaming of, that they kind of didn't believe was possible. So while you are special, you're unique, you are amazing, okay? Don't forget that. You are not a special form of damaged goods. Please stop BSing yourself and being like, well, I can't be fixed, because that is just an excuse to not do the work. That is your trauma keeping you in a safety net of never changing, because you know that in order to change, you have to feel some emotions that you haven't been wanting to feel for a while. And that doesn't mean that you take another knife and you mess up the wound and make it hurt again. You do not have to do any of that to heal your trauma, but you do have to start connecting to your body and feel your emotions. So let's get that out of the way, that if you are a human being, and I'm guessing you're watching this video, you have the neurophysiological capacity and capability, it's like hard to say, to rewire your nervous system. You have the capacity to build new neural pathways that take you from this fear survival mode to letting your guard down, being open, loving, and trusting, and becoming closer to your partner than ever before. No matter what you've been through, no matter how many different traumatic events you've been through, you have that capacity. For some, we work with clients who are 50 to 60 years old, who have never worked on their trauma in the right way, who actually spent years, decades talking about their issues in talk therapy and making it worse, because when you keep talking about it and keep reinforcing the same stories, it does do that to the wound, right? Like, it does put that knife back in there and turn it around, and it's like, it's not doing anything, it's not helping. So yes, it might take a little bit longer for them, but most of our clients are between 30 and 50, and it takes them just 3 months to experience this transformation. And again, you might be like, I've been trying this for years. I've been trying everything and things have not changed. How is that even possible? You're doing it the wrong way. You're trying to trust from your mind without changing the story and belief and hurt that's stored in your body and nervous system. Now, most people feel like a failure and a special form of damaged goods because they have done all these DIY courses and, you know, do it yourself at home, kind of learn these tricks and tools. Like, what BS? You experience your trauma in a relationship, in relationships, doesn't matter with who, your father, your mother, your sister, your brother, your ex, doesn't matter. You were in a relationship. How can you expect to heal that trauma on your own at home by yourself? Now, that's not your fault. Like, it's not like, wow, how could you have thought that? Marketing out there is good, right? There's some good ass marketing out there that's like, yeah, you can heal your trauma, just do these things. So it's not your fault if you were, you know, led to believe that that was possible. But these courses are like $150. It's not going to cost $150 to heal your trauma. Like, healing your trauma requires a very deep rewiring that changes the entire course of your life and your relationship. It needs a bit more investment, and it needs to happen in relationship because your hurt happened in relationship. So the only way to build that trust again and experience that love in a way that lasts is to reframe your beliefs. Not your beliefs up here, your beliefs in here around relationships. And in order to rewire your nervous system from fear and freeze and fight and flight and all those reactions that are occurring in your partnership to love and openness and connection and letting your guard down, you have to do it in relationship. Because this is why people spend so many years in talk therapy, in couples therapy. They talk about what they want to change. And then when it comes to the moment of confrontation, of setting boundaries, speaking up, or letting their guard down and being present and letting the love in, all that stuff goes out the window. So we have to do this work through the body, through relationships, so that we stop talking about what we want to change and we start feeling the change on the spot, in the relationship, in session with an experienced, safe practitioner. So that's kind of like number one, is if you've believed that this hasn't been possible for you, like you're just bound to mess up your relationship and there's nothing that you can do, please stop feeding yourself that lie, because it is possible for you. Now, in order to trust and love and let love in fully from your partner who like keeps wanting to put the past in the past and really just like embrace the relationship that you have now. And I know you want that too. That's why you're here watching this video. You have to do basically what we've just been talking about, is rewire those old stories that when you experience trauma, when you experience that real terrible hurt, and this doesn't have to be like, oh my God, I experienced this one huge traumatic event and I know it's this event and now that's why I'm acting this way. For a lot of people, they're not even aware that you could experience little traumas every day growing up in your home. It's like you can't even really pinpoint this huge thing, and that still creates dysfunction in your nervous system. So when I say trauma, if you're like, oh, I didn't experience trauma, or maybe maybe you downplay the trauma that you actually did experience. So a lot of my clients, you know, once we really dig into once the memories come up, they're like, oh yeah, that feels painful, or like, I remember that being like really hard for me. It's like, okay, yeah, that was a trauma, right? What happens when we experience trauma is that verbal part of our brain goes offline, and everything else, all the memories, all the feelings, are remembered in our nonverbal body. We never remembered this trauma in words. We never stored it in words. It's just in fragments of emotions and sensation and memory, so that when you try to talk about it or change it from the mind, it doesn't actually work. So you have to connect to your body safely and gently so that you can access those memories without it throwing you off, like without going back into those, you know, those unhealthy reactions that you're currently having with your partner. So that is part of what it takes to really change the way you're feeling right now. Like this feeling like I can't trust, I can't love, I'm too guarded, because you're in survival mode. The story in your body is still, I can't trust, I can't love. That's too painful. So you need to rewire your nervous system and learn new ways of feeling and being and behaving with your partner. And let's just cut through the BS and stop trying to journal and talk about it, and do this work from the mind, or try to convince ourselves, or do affirmations, or, you know, all that stuff that just has not been working for you. I want to show you what can actually work for you, what has worked for so many who have spent so many years on the trauma train and have been stuck on this train, who have finally released their trauma in a way that's actually lasting, that's bringing them closer to their partners than they've been in any relationship. I want to show you how that's possible for you. So I have a free training especially designed for this, where you will learn what it'll take for you to heal your trauma and really enjoy your relationship that you're in, so that you save it from going south, so you don't have to even worry about it going south like it did for me, like it almost did for a lot of our clients, right? You don't have to get to that point. You can make a change now. So sign up for my free training. I'll put the link above, below, or to the side, depending on where you're watching. And it's time. It is your time to be able to let love in. So let's do it. Join me, and I'll see you there. Bye.